Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit that subscribe button if you're new so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. So I got to ask you, years ago, the people that own my company are Australian, the Murdochs.
Hmm.
And years ago, I asked Lachlan, I said, hey, Lachlan, because I lived in Manhattan Beach, California. I said, I always wanted to go to Australia. And he said, well, you live in Manhattan Beach. It's the same weather. He said, and I'm like, really? He didn't hard sell Australia. And I'm like,
Oh no.
I know it shattered my dreams of. So when you are, because you obviously, to our audience, you were a young phenom, you come up through their system. For somebody that has never been to Australia, there are obviously similarities in our democracy. What is the one thing when you're in the States that you're like, oh, mate, I miss home? What do you miss? Because California and
Ah,
Australia have some similarities.
yeah, absolutely they do. He's probably not too far off with the weather, to be fair. California's a beautiful place, obviously. Beaches, Australia, the beaches are really nice. There is a lot of similarities, but I guess the one thing for me would be probably coffee and beer. I feel like that's it, to be honest. But we have some amazing places. Obviously, the Great Barrier Reef. I've traveled up there a bunch. One of the most beautiful places in the world. Um, yeah, but I mean, the first thing I do when I land in Australia is I'll go get a nice coffee, and then probably later that afternoon have a nice cold beer.
You know what? That's good living, Cam. I can tell you right now, that is good living. So you when you came to the Live Tour, I've always thought it's interesting, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago with a member of the tour. I said, if a player on the Live Tour struggles, invariably everybody goes, "Well, it's the money. That's what it is." And I'm like, "No, it's golf." I watched
Yeah.
David Duval's career collapse. Ian Baker Finch. I watched Greg Norman, who was arguably the best player in the world, forget how to golf in the back nine of the Masters. Golf is different. It is a game of a slower tempo. There's a lot of time to get into your head. So when you've had recent struggles, everybody's going to point to the live money. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's an easy out because golfers struggle. Outside of Tiger Woods for 10 years, all golfers have streaks. So with your
Yeah.
struggles, what do you think it is?
Um, at the end of last year, I really did a lot of hard work on my swing. Um, and I feel like if you looked at 2022 Cameron Smith and 2025 Cameron Smith on the range, you would say that 2025 Cameron Smith is a better golfer than 2022, just technically and maybe looks wise. But it's just been a hard year to commit. And like you say, between shots, you have so much time to think, is this the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Um, and then maybe through reps, it's got better as the season's gone on.
Yeah.
But just committing to a thought or, you know, I changed a fair bit technically. So I feel like this in the long run is the right thing to do, but it has been a little bit of a struggle this year for sure.
So, the tour had the Phoenix Open, there's the Ryder Cup. It's not like golf's never been rowdy. Not everything is Augusta.
Yeah.
So when I went to my first live tour event in Chicago, I thought it was just so I like new stuff. And between the merch sales, there was lines around the block. The crowd was younger. The access. I mean, I'm like Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, Sergio. They're like I can touch them. When you and maybe Australian junior golf is rowdier. It's a rowdy country. People like their beer and their beach and their good times. Was it an adjustment to the access fans have, to the volume, to the music? As a professional golfer, was that a pivot for you? Was it a difficult change or did it come easy?
Um, it definitely was a little bit of a change, to be honest. But at the time I come over, I was playing some pretty handy golf, so everything felt kind of easy, to be honest. I felt like I could have gone somewhere else and played really good golf, and um, I think what we're doing is really cool. The access, as you mentioned, you know, selfishly in Australia, we're doing lots of good things with the Little Rippers. We have
Yeah.
junior golf programs, and Golf Australia's been really helpful and being on our side and getting a lot of that stuff prepped up. So, um, yeah, it's been awesome, mate. You know, I think for me, um, the best thing we can do as professional golfers is get more clubs in the kids' hands, and I feel like we're going the right way about it out here. It's fun. The kids love to come back. We got the fan zone out there. Kids are putting, playing as we're playing next to them, so it's really cool.
Golf's an individual sport. As somebody born in Australia, and now live is global, so it fits. But how did you view the PGA when you were 14, 15? How did you view the PGA, or would you have been happy being Australia's? You were second, first or second best golfer. Like, did you immediately at 8 years old look at America and say, "That's where I'm going to play"? Golf has a winner takes all decider, and it's happening this weekend at St. John's Resort in beautiful Michigan. The LIV Golf Team Championship is absolutely on the line. 12 international squads battling to settle the entire season in one weekend of Survive and Advanced Golf. It's a lot of fun. The teams represent 6 continents, include no fewer than 14 major championships. It's a global event. Notable players include Bryson DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, Spain's Jon Rahm, Australia's Cam Smith. Fans also get a chance to enjoy the biggest party of the LIV Golf season. It will be the biggest party, with two iconic acts dropping in to headline the post-round shows. Imagine Dragons, yep, Imagine Dragons going to play Saturday right after golf before Swedish House Mafia close out the weekend Sunday at 7 p.m. It is a great time at St. John's Resort, one of America's boldest new resorts, built on the site of the old Catholic seminary. St. John's spans 24,000 square feet. It's won the AAA Four Diamond Award, big time course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was, you know, growing up, I'm watching guys like Jason Day and Adam Scott and Tiger, of
Yep.
course. Um, that's where I wanted to be. But that was because all the best players were playing there, and it was really the only place you could play. Um, yeah, so absolutely, I wanted to be in the US, play on the PGA Tour, and you know, be the best golfer I could be. But like I mentioned, it was the only option at that point.
Who was the first American golf star in an event you played with, and what was the experience like? Were you nervous? Was it like, oh, I've watched them
Oh,
on TV
jeez.
for years? Go to your first
Um,
event that you played with a star.
Jeez, I can't even remember. Jeez, I think one of my first PGA Tour events was maybe the Pebble Beach Pro Am. I can't remember who I played with. Um, you know, I knew Jason a fair bit by then. He was probably, you know, the
Jason
first,
Day.
yeah, Jason Day. He was probably the first guy that I spent a fair bit of time around and went, wow, this guy is so much better than me. I've got so much work to do. Um, but I was probably only 21, 22 years old, and he was at kind of the peak of his career. He was playing some amazing golf when I come on tour. Um, yeah, but he was probably the first guy that I really got kind of starstruck around. And then, you know, as time went on, you play with different guys, and you know, you've grown up your whole life watching them. Um, yeah, but Jason was definitely the first guy I was like, holy shit, I'm so bad at golf.
Well, I mean, I always tell my kids life's about reaction, not action. So you obviously, you have to kind of go home and not sulk and kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
Are there courses for you, as you travel around the world, and I've asked live players this before. I'm just now becoming addicted to golf. Is there a
Sorry.
country? I know it's tormenting. Is there a country that you look at and think is underrated, that you look at the courses and you look at the young players? Is there a place in this globe that maybe is fairly new to you and you think it has an incredibly promising future in the sport?
Um, I would say Asia. Asia as a continent, I don't think there's one kind of country that really stands out. Every golf course that we've gone to in Asia has been phenomenal. Not only
That's
the
what I hear.
Yeah, not only the design and stuff like that, but just their practice facilities. They're so excited as well to have you there. It's such a cool place. But I would say for sure in the next 10, 20 years, that's the place I'd look to um, where I think the most good golfers are going to come out of. There's a fair few in Australia as well. Um, South Africa, we're going there next year. I'm looking forward to getting there. Um, there are places where good golfers have come kind of regularly, but I think we'll see the biggest influx in Asia for sure.
I'm going to give you a golfer, and you give me a sentence as if I've never seen him play. I've never seen him play, and I want you to describe their greatness. Jon
Okay.
Rahm.
Oh, I mean, he's incredible. It feels like when you're playing against him, when you're up near the lead, when you're in contention with him, it feels like you have to do everything perfect to beat him. That's drive the ball, chip the ball, approach, everything. It feels like he doesn't let up. He doesn't miss a shot. He's so consistent. Like out here, I think every start he's had like a top 10, which is a crazy thing. People might not think that that's hard, but it's hard. I would say just incredibly consistent, persistent as well. Like doesn't let up, and he's a fighter too. When he's on his heels, um, more often than not, he comes out on top.
An older guy, but one of my favorite players ever, Phil Mickelson. I've never seen him play. Describe Phil Mickelson.
Um, a crazy golfer, to be honest. I've played with Phil a lot, particularly the last 5 or 6 years. I've played with him when he stripes the ball, hits everything perfect, does all the right stuff, and I've played with him where he hits it offline, hits these miraculous shots, and gets up and down and kind of keeps the momentum going. He's definitely a momentum guy. Once he gets on a string of birdies, it seems like he's not going to stop. Um, but a completely different golfer to Jon Rahm in that, um, yeah, he kind of hits it everywhere and like gets it done. It's crazy.
He's the great chef that spills a few things, but he's still
Abs-
great.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Rory McIlroy.
Rory's the most impressive driver of the golf ball I've ever seen. I don't think I'll ever see. I don't think anyone could ever be better than him off the tee. Um, Again, just does all the right stuff, hits it in the right places. A very he can be very dominant when he's on. I feel like he's very very tough to beat.
A man who bet it all, a series of calculated risks, a team with wild personalities, meticulously designed for greatness and how they made their own luck. America's team. The Gambler and his Cowboys is the definitive story of the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones' impact on NFL history. It's good. What began as a daring purchase led to the assembly of the iconic 90s football team, a decade plus journey, led by Jones's intrepid business moves that revolutionized global sports, resulted in 3 Super Bowl titles. Firsthand interviews, never before seen footage, dramatic twists, the road to the Cowboys becoming the most valuable sports franchise in the world. So you've got great interviews with the president, the owner, the GM, Jerry Jones, who purchased them in '89. Among the doc's other commentators, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith, Deion Sanders. It's the upcoming documentary series by the Emmy Award-winning directors of Wild Wild Country and Untold. Watch America's Team, The Gambler, and his Cowboys streaming now only on Netflix. You know, Bryson DeChambeau he looks like a football player, and he's got a kind of a crazy personality. I didn't like him when he initially came on the tour. I thought he was obnoxious. And then something happened, and 2 years later, I was always a Brooks Koepka guy, and now I love them both. And reportedly, they've mended fences, which makes me happy because I think they're really great. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So first of all, can you confirm that they now speak? They're okay.
Oh yeah, they're okay.
Okay, they're okay. Right? Cam's reporting that.
Yeah.
But is Bryson intimidating just because of his sheer stature and size when you golf with him? What is it like to golf with him?
Yeah, he can be intimidating. Again, he can get the driver going as well. For me, I would say I'm a kind of average kind of length guy. I don't hit the ball too short. I don't hit it too far. He can just overpower golf courses like no one else
Right.
can. And it can be quite intimidating, but I don't think there's a golf course he can play that necessarily I can't play, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But yeah, he can get that driver going. It's pretty crazy. You know, sometimes he's, 70, 80, 90 yards ahead of you, and it's pretty demoralizing, to be honest.
Finally, I was in Chicago. The Indy crowds were double Chicago. I expect the Michigan crowds to be huge. Are you aware of that? Like in basketball, the crowd is on you. But in
hmm
golf, are you aware of the gallery size? Does it make a difference? Is it energizing?
Um, yeah, I think you get a certain sense of energy from the crowd. Um, Last week was really cool. The golf course was kind of really narrow,
Yep.
and the crowd almost felt on top of you. We have a few events like that. Hong Kong is one of them. Adelaide is one of them, where it feels like you can't get away, and it brings a certain type of energy, particularly when they're ramped up. Particularly when you're in contention and there's a lot of yahooing and all the other
Right.
stuff. But yeah, Indy was great last week. I can't wait for this week. This golf course is one of the best conditioned golf courses I've ever played. It's amazing. The format is cool this week. Match play. There'll be a ton of birdies. It'll be really fun to watch.
Yeah, Michigan's a beautiful state. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but it's got great golf. You've really gotten that Midwest swing. You get a little humidity in the Midwest. It can get like
Yeah, yeah.
Indiana gets like it can get a
It
little
it was
hot.
hot in Chicago. Indy last
Yep.
week was hot too. Way hotter than I expected, to be honest.
The Midwest can get a little warm, but I'll tell you what, Midwest in America, those sports fans, there are none better, man. They
Yeah,
love
they're
their
nuts.
sports. And
Yep.
they like their beer as much as you like your Aussie beer, my friend. I can assure you that.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, hey, I appreciate you stopping by and giving us 15 minutes. I really do.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You bet.